Good morning, Tuesday in the second week of Lent. Today we hear one of many Jesus' critiques of the Pharisees and the scribes. We'll hear more of these read-ins as we proceed through the season of Lent, which it's important to remember that these events are listed in the Gospels. The church uses it in our liturgies and especially at Mass. It's not just for the sake of telling us that Jesus got in disputes with the Pharisees. There's always an element of self-reflection on our part where we can fall in to the same attitude and actions and characteristics of the Pharisees and scribes. It's always meant to be a self-examination of our own conscience as well. Again, not just for the sake of just putting down the Pharisees and saying how bad we are. We can fall in these same traps as well. So he starts the gospel passage off with a very interesting statement, really telling the people to honor the position and the teaching authority of the Pharisees, that they occupy the seat of Moses, which literally in the synagogue, they would have a seat in the middle of the synagogue called the seat of Moses, and that's whoever is the preacher of the day, whoever is the teacher would sit in that seat and teach from that seat. We just kind of brought that fact up with the chair of St. Peter. Last week's feast day, I believe it was on Thursday of last week. The chair of Peter kind of meant to kind of replace the seat of Moses, so to speak, the authority of Jesus being given over to Peter and to the rest of the apostles. But anyways, to respect and honor that position, but at the same time, Jesus tells us don't practice what they do. And then he goes into the list of descriptions of how they like the seats of honor and how they like the salutation rabbi and how they lengthen their phylacteries, okay? How they really, really embellish the power and prestige that comes with their position. They love it, I think, more than they would love actually, instructing the people in the ways of God. And that seems to be what bothers Jesus. But again, like I said, it's still a self-evaluation on our own conscience, and it's still an examination of conscience, especially that last statement that kind of closes off that whole account. At the very end of today's gospel passage, it says that whoever exalts himself will be humble, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted. And so what contrasts what Jesus is saying with the Pharisees? The Pharisees combine power and pride. They have the power and they have the self-love of themselves and they embellish it. Jesus wants to put power and love together. Rather than power and pride, it's power and love. Again, he does it himself. He, at the same time, is exalted. He has the beloved Son of God, just all the heavenly glory and power there is. And yet, here he is taking on our humanity. Here he is taking on, all the weakness and pain and suffering that comes. Here he is submitting to the cross. All because he uses his power for what? For the enhancement of love, for the enhancement of the good of the other. That's how our Lord, that's how God uses his heavenly power, the power that created the heavens and the earth, the power that moves all things. And yet he uses that power not to enhance himself, not to glorify himself, but to enhance our lives, to glorify our lives. And again, just like yesterday, to try to outdo God in his mercy, with all the blessings and power that we have in this life, with our faith, we're called to really, out of love, enhance the lives of others around us. To love God, to love our neighbor. That is how real power is used. And so when we humble ourselves, when we go to the lowest of the low out of love, it is God himself who one day exalt us. May God bless you.